Hello and welcome out there. Welcome to the G2 and Pringles showcase. The showrunner today is Sabrina. She is commercial director at G2 Esports, and I'm handing over directly to her.
Thanks a lot, Andreas. Yeah, I'm very happy to be in this panel together with Andreas. He's the senior marketing manager and oversees pretty much everything around gaming for the DACH region at Kellogg's. And he was the driving force for this partnership in the first place. And yeah, I'm looking forward to tell you a bit more about G2. Then Andreas will give an outline on the strategic outlook of Pringles with respect to gaming and esports. And then we will talk about one of the cornerstones of our partnership, which is G2 making the squad, the FIFA edition presented by Pringles. So I would say we jump straight in. Let's see if I can click. Yes. Cool. So for those of you who don't know that much about G2, I want to keep it fairly short, but obviously if you have questions afterwards, feel free to drop them, and then Andreas and I will try to not talk as much, so there's enough room for questions afterwards. In a nutshell, who we are as G2 is we are a multi-team esports organization, and our vision is to be the most accomplished and entertaining media company in all gaming and esports. And I come from Red Bull, so I would say I'm pretty spoiled when it comes to content and storytelling. And one of the reasons why I was super excited to join G2 back then was because there was a clear understanding in the ownership that esports is more than just competitive success, right? It's a form of entertainment. And I think this is what we live and breathe at G2 day in, day out. And if you're a G2 fan, you are a fan because you love to be entertained. G2 was founded in 2015, so actually compared to other organizations, we are fairly young, but we achieved a lot in those 6 years, which is also a lot down to our strong founder board. On the left-hand side, you see Carlos, who used to be a pro player himself, the CEO of the organization. And on the right-hand side, Jens, who was the co-founder of ESL, so someone that believed in this industry more than 20 years ago, obviously already, and was an integral part of shaping G2 as it is today. If we think about how we would want to describe ourselves as a brand, we love to be self-deprecating, right? We don't take ourselves too seriously. We love to celebrate wins before we even have set one foot on the stage. That's just part who we are. We just love to be authentic and innovative and witty. And all in all, most important, we want to be relevant at all times and across all titles. Our organization is subdivided in basically two divisions. One is our esports division, and then there is a creator business. For the esports part, we're currently covering 9 different esports titles across the G2 under the G2 umbrella. So that's basically covering all genres that you will find in gaming and esports. So we have strategy titles like League of Legends. We have first-person shooter titles like Counter-Strike or Valorant or Rainbow Six. We run the sim racing division for Red Bull Racing, but we also have titles like Rocket League, Fortnite, obviously, as well as Hearthstone. And we are always looking into adding titles that we believe have a good opportunity to grow and are complementary to our brand identity. Besides our competitive success, as I said earlier, for us it's super important to be relevant and entertaining. And because we were so diligent in that, and we were really able to translate that brand love into engagement. So we are one of the top most talked about and watched esports clubs globally. And in terms of social relevance, we're the #2 globally, which is insane when you think about how young we actually are. And I think this is all down to not only our competitive success, right? We're doing really well in all of our titles, but it's also because of our content and storytelling approach. Because that means our fans are just attached to us, to G2, even if we lose, right? Or even if there's no game happening for a couple of weeks and months. And the numbers that you can see on the right-hand side pretty much speak to that a lot as well on an annual basis. After a short introduction of G2, I would love to hand over to Andreas now to give you a short overview of Pringles.
Yes, thank you, Sabrina. Yeah, if you have ever wanted to learn how esports became a priority and G2 became our cooperation partner, yeah, you can be looking forward to the next few minutes. At Pringles, our mission is to bring people together and create unexpected fun moments for our consumers. I believe that says it all, and that's why I'm here today, because bringing people together and unexpected fun are synonyms for esports. And we early focused on gaming and esports as one of our two priorities for our brand engagement already in 2017. The whole digital pop culture community, including esports and gaming, science fiction, movies, and so on, is representing our target group perfectly and is fitting to our brand equity as a fun brand. And actually, gamers love Pringles as they are perfectly designed for gaming. Thanks to the unique and always same shape, it's easy to grab them. Also with one hand, they are much less greasy and crumbly than our competition. And from research, we know that gamers are appreciating exactly these characteristics. And that is what made Pringles the #1 snacking brand in gaming in UK and Germany. And how we got there, I want to show you on the next slide. So next slide, please.
I'm clicking.
Yeah, perfect. We entered the esports community via our ESL tournament sponsoring in 2017 at a quite early stage for non-endemic brands. And we were amazed about the positive emotions and the passion at these events and how quickly we were accepted by the community. We kept sponsoring these tournaments for the last years, and we loved seeing how many other brands joined and helped to develop the whole esports community out of a niche. For us as a brand, at that point of time, KPIs like reach and return of investment were highly interested and lucrative, especially when talking about esports. We had and we still have the ambition to be an innovative and trailblazing brand when it comes to our esports activations. So we produced, for example, our first esports only commercial spot in 2018 and maximized our reach with our ESL and Riot cooperations in 2019. Until then, we have understood the history of esports community, and we have learned to apply the community and ecosystem know-how. For us, this is key to authentic engagement and esteem of the esports community. To keep our first mover ambition, we resharpened our esports strategy in 2020 to A, solidify our Pringles footsteps via true emotions in the professional esports sector, and B, to start to support upcoming esports talent in the grassroots sector. Besides co-sponsoring the Razer Fortnite Invitational Tournament, we found the perfect match for both of these targets with G2 Esports. Next slide, please. Yes, as mentioned, our target is and was to authentically engage with true emotions and exactly where the true emotions are sitting. And in the esports ecosystem, I believe that the true emotions are sitting with the teams. After comparing several teams, the best fit was G2. You've seen some numbers earlier, but I can tell you G2 outgrew and out-engaged all other teams by far. And that is, for me, the evoluting insight behind our choice. For Pringles as a brand, I don't look at reach as reach as total. Actually, I look at effective reach, which is driven by engagement. And I am sure I couldn't have made a better choice than G2. The execution of making the squad was already very successful on a high professional level, which a brand like Pringles expects, and there is a perfect fit to the brand. Pringles' #1 priority in occasions is actually soccer, and the second priority is gaming. With Making the Squad FIFA edition, we were able to bring those priorities together for the first time. Additionally, it combined both pillars of our esports strategy, to engage with a professional team sector, that is G2, and to support our grassroots sector with the format as such. So as you can see, Making the Squad and Pringles and G2 are the perfect match. I would actually even say perfect couple. And you can be excited to learn more about it from Sabrina now.
Thank you, Andreas. Yeah, I can just echo what Andreas said. I think when we met for the first time at an event in Berlin, and we just started talking about our partnership approach, both on Pringles and G2 side, it clicked straight away, right? And at the end of the day, partnerships and collaborations is a people business. And I think this clicking moment that we always had between Andreas and the team, but also his European colleagues, is what essentially then translated into this amazing partnership, right? And for Making the Squad, a few words about Making the Squad in general. We started doing it about 3 years ago already, and it's essentially an esports and gaming talent show where we are on the quest to find the most entertaining streamer in the respective title. And each year we would choose a different title, and then participants had to go through different challenges to then become part of the Making the Squad, and then stand a chance to get a contract and a ticket to the G2 army at the end of the day. And we always put a lot of love and heart into Making the Squad for especially the last 2 editions, but then we felt we want to elevate what we had for Making the Squad going forward. And we wanted to have a premium partner that really understands us and that follows us on that same journey. And we're super happy that we found someone like Pringles to come on board for this, that trusted us to elevate the production value really massively, but also was always open to discuss how we can actually integrate the brand Pringles into the main broadcast as well as in the shoulder content to make sure we deliver maximum value to our audience. Our goals for Making the Squad 3 were fairly simple, right? We wanted to create a new and innovative content format in gaming and esports. So we wanted to attract an audience that is a bit wider than our typical core esports audience. We've seen with Making the Squad that this can be a format that resonates with a lot of audiences. And by partnering with Inside TV, we were really able to tap into a completely new different TV audience as well, which made this even more successful and meaningful both for us as well as for Pringles. We took on the bigger challenge to produce this completely in 4K. It was translated in, I believe, 7 or 8 or even 10 different languages. It was a massive production all through Corona, which came with its challenges, but it was super rewarding at the end because it was not only amazing for us to see that our fans that already watched Making the Squad 1 years ago tuned in again and loved it, but we were able, as I said, to widen the funnel considerably. And then what we were able to do for Pringles and what we set ourselves as a goal was to deliver best in class and quality brand value for Pringles. And to be honest, it's fairly easy with Pringles because we just fit so well. And we see this every time when Pringles and G2 people meet on a conference call to do brainstormings. It's always smiles and it's always great ideas and it just flows naturally. And I think we always on the quest to find those partners that we have a strong strategic overlap with. And with Pringles, we definitely found it, right? And that's why I think it was really almost easy to make a massive impact across gamers with this format. Few words on viewership. This format definitely exceeded by far the average viewership numbers that we had on previous editions. So we had on average more than 4 million live views. So this is excluding VODs, average live views per episode. And it was an 8-part series that we produced in 4K here out of Berlin. And it was a total viewership for in the DACH region of 6.5 or 6.2 million and total viewership of around 30 or 32, I believe it was in total. So for us, it was super important by structuring the format to really make sure that for Pringles, there's not only a global reach, but as Andrea said, right, it should also result into a qualitative engagement in his key territory, which is the DACH region, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland. And we did this by working with German creators. We made sure also in the process of finding the talent to make sure we have a strong representation of a German talent squad. And we produce dedicated German and DACH region shoulder content to make sure we really speak to that respective audience. The viewership in EMEA was roughly 40%. And the winner back then, the lucky winner was Imenia, who then also signed a contract with G2. So he's now, as a lot of the ones before him, managed to get this contract with him and is now officially part of the G2 army. I would say one of the biggest challenges for us with making the squad 3 was really in how far you walk the dance between a good and strong brand integration of Pringles while also adhering to TV standards and regulations, right? Because we wanted to make this a more massive-led format. We also had to make sure that we're sticking to the regulations that come with traditional TV in different territories, because we've been airing this globally, this format. And that was a great challenge, because that meant Pringles and G2 were just brainstorming even more about what we could do that is meaningful for the format, that is a great fit for Pringles as a brand, and will be engaging and entertaining and funny to watch for fans of the show. So what we did was we had a dedicated Pringles playroom where the guys could chill after their competitions, where a lot of the behind the scenes footage also was generated. We integrated a lot of Pringles cans into the challenges. We had customized jerseys and Pringles cans. You saw some of those on Andrea's slides earlier already. There was obviously subtle product placement throughout the format, but I think the biggest one for us was the shoulder content we created across our socials, because if you know G2, you know that we are meme kings, right? And Pringles is just such a fun and entertaining and cool brand that we obviously want to emphasize on the social side of things a lot, and wanted to make sure that we celebrate this across our global and local social channels. For us, looking now retrospectively, and actually we are in the process now of planning making the squad 4, hopefully with Pringles again. It will be a different title this time, as always. For us, the key takeaway was that, yes, it was the right decision to go to TV. We were hesitant at first because we were not sure if it's really going to open up that broad audience that we were hoping for, and that is not only reach, but that it's qualitative eyeballs that we're generating, but it really did. So it was the right move to invest in the higher production value, which was obviously considerably higher than the formats and shows that we did previously, but it definitely paid off in terms of viewership and widening the funnel. It definitely made sense, and kudos here again to Inside TV, who have been an incredible partner on this journey, who believed in us, in Pringles, and were very patient and worked on a ridiculously short timeline to make this all happen. And there's no way we could have done this without such a professional team of Inside TV in the background. So I think this is, if you want to take such a format to such a 4K global distribution level, then it's definitely needed to work with an experienced partner like Inside TV on this. And then equally on the distribution side, it's the same for the brand side. It is always super important for us to work with partners where I already said that where we have this strategic overlap. But I think for a format like this, it was even more important, right? Because we wanted to make sure that Pringles is a consistent part and element of every series, of every episode of the format. So it had to be a partner that really works. And as Andrea said, there is a lot of investment around football and gaming. So Pringles was perceived well by the audience and was great to just be integrated in the entire format. What we also saw across our audience from the feedback we gathered, and also the feedback we gathered across Pringles channels, was that there is a hunger for higher production value. While we generate a lot of our eyeballs and engagements through social, so it's short meme clips, right? We are the meme kings in the industry. There is room for high quality productions, which really made us commit to this project, and also show that this is the right path for making the squad and for potential other esportainment formats we are looking to establish going forward. Because as I said earlier, we are an esports organization, but we really want to entertain, and I think that's the same for Pringles, right? It is a snack brand, but there's much more to this, right, than just the product. It's about having a creative and interesting and engaging dialogue with your audience. And yeah, it's also for us looking at FIFA, we didn't really have any footprint in FIFA. So it was also a bit of a gamble for us as G2 to tap into this title. But also here, it not only worked well with Pringles, but it also helped us to tap into a new fan base, right? That we didn't entertain to that extent before. So yeah, I think these are the 5 big takeaways. I don't know, Andreas, if you would add anything in terms of takeaways on making the squad?
Now, well, I can say it was a pleasure, and it was exactly the right thing to do, with all the decisions that we have taken, and with all the takeaways that you're mentioning here.
Cool. I think this is already the last slide because we wanted to keep time for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to shoot now.
Yes, I can see 2 questions here. One is coming from Tia, and I think that one is basically to you, Sabrina. And that is the question: what advice would you give for smaller companies seeking partners that align with their own strategies?
That's a good question. I would say, and that might sound weird, be stubborn about what you want and take your time to reflect on the strategic overlap. Some of the brands we speak to or have spoken to since like the 2.5 years that I've been with G2 now, we had great conversations, but we had to admit at some point that we are just not a great fit, right? And at this stage, it just doesn't make sense. So you can only bend over so much, but also you have to keep in mind that it will reflect on your ability to then entertain this audience. So while I think the beauty always lies in the compromise, it needs to work at the end of the day, and it's always important to spend that time to understand what is the strategic overlap. Are both parties really wanting the same from this relationship, right? What is the other party trying to achieve? Is it pure brand engagement? Is it sales pickup? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And then being honest about if you believe you'll be able to cater towards this or not.
Yeah, I would also agree from my side. Be honest, be authentic, and be yourself, and don't just do what you believe the other side wants to hear, because that's in the end not going to be successful. For Pringles, I can only say what I'm looking for is be innovative, and yeah, then I guess you will be successful. And then there are 2 more questions, and I think those are actually to me. The first question is: what was the thought process of choosing League of Legends as the game to partner into? And that was, I think, in 2018, and the thought process by that time was actually the size of the game, how famous it was, what was the size of the players, and so on and so forth. And since this was one of the absolute largest games, we decided to partner with Riot. The second question to me is: what was the biggest challenge you had to overcome internally at Kellogg to make this happen? Well, actually, it was not such a big challenge at all, because there was such a good overlap or strategic fit. What I've mentioned before. Priority number 1 is soccer. Priority number 2 is gaming. And here we had for the first time the match of the 2 biggest priorities, and that was a perfect selling story towards all stakeholders, and to get the top management agreement to say, yeah, let's go for it. It's a good idea. Let's try it out. And yeah, I think that was that. Then I love that question. What's G2's Army's favorite Pringles flavor?
Oh, oh my God, there is so many fierce debates about this in the office you would not know. And I have to tell this anecdote. So while we were in the process of signing this partnership, Andreas and the team kindly sent us a big delivery of Pringles cans. We went through this in a ridiculously short amount of time. And in our G2 office, it's very open space, right? Everyone can just walk over to everyone's desk. Apart from the admin area, so where finance and legal and all the boring stuff sits, right? So this always needs to be locked as a German regulation. And then at some point, we were wondering where all the cans went. And our admin team actually hid a large chunk of the cans inside their office. So from all different flavors. So there is, I can't give you that answer, unfortunately. There's so many debates internally on what the flavor is. Mine is the paprika one, but yeah, not one yet. Maybe at some point we will get a G2 and a special edition, and then that's going to be our favorite, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can only say what's probably the most famous one in Germany, and that is our sour cream and onion flavor, which is the best seller. And I just got one more question here. Where is it gone? To Andreas. Are you still seeking partnership opportunities in esports and gaming, or are you satisfied with the current partnerships in the market? First of
He's
all, I'm
satisfied.
satisfied with the yes, exactly. I'm satisfied with the current partnerships, but nonetheless, as I've mentioned, we are one brand that is that has the ambition to be innovative and trailblazing. And what I'm not looking for is copying one format to a different game. So if you're innovative, or let's put it like that, as an ambition for you guys out there, do not copy paste things, be innovative and find your own way. That is what is interesting for me, at least. Okay, now now the questions are coming in. What do big companies usually look for so they agree for partnership with smaller companies and organizations?
Good question.
It depends on the goal, or in what situation you are. Yeah, it really depends on whether you are on a awareness campaign mission, whether you're on a sales mission, whatever. And I think derived from exactly those goals is what companies are looking for.
Yeah, and I don't want to repeat myself, but I think it's really the strategic overlap because not only Pringles, but if you look into all our long-term partners, PaySafeCard, for example, has been with us for 6 years now. That is a long time in esports history, right? So they partnered with us when we were no one, right? But we said we are fun, we're entertaining, and we play esports. And so we always stick to our guns, right? We always knew we want to be who we are, right? We want to entertain people. We want to have people. We want to show people that esports is more than just competitive play. And I think as long as you find that niche for yourself, you shouldn't be hesitant to reach out to bigger brands, right?
Yeah. Then we have one question from Gaspar. What about other Kellogg's brands? Is there also a possibility for them to follow Pringles into esports? Yes, they are actually currently already doing. Our main cereal brand Tresor, or Crave as it's called in France, for example, is entering the gaming sector at the moment. Maybe you check YouTube, they have just issued a pretty funny gaming clip. Then there's one for you, Sabrina. What is the best way to get attention from non-endemic brands?
That's a good one. I think know your audience. For us, when we started 2.5 years, or when I started with G2 2.5 years ago, we already had a really good roster of endemic brands, but we just started really focusing on non-endemic brands. And there it really helped us to show like what sentiments can we show towards our audience, what are they interested in, how do we translate that into partnership deliverables, also what do we not do, so pure badging, right? Because especially for endemic and non-endemic, this is never going to translate into an engaging dialogue with your audience anyways, right? I think that really helped us. Data to show and help non-endemic brands understand how our audience tick, and definitely also asking for that bit of level of trust, right? Because for a lot of non-endemic brands, you've seen a lot of fashion brands going into esports over the last 1.5 years. You've seen FMCG brands entering the space. BMW did a foray in esports, right? Those are all brands that you maybe not immediately would have connected with esports. So they want to be sure that they are entering in a space that offers a certain level of brand safety, right? So I think that is super important, even more for non-endemic brands. So know your audience and know how you can create a safe yet entertaining space for this brand across your ecosystem.
I think those were perfect last words.
Did we run out of questions? Oh no, we're running out of time, right?
Yeah. Yes, we're running out of time. So thank you. And thank you to you, Sabrina.
Thank you very much, Andreas. I hope this was insightful for all of you. And if you have questions, obviously, feel free to reach out to Andreas and myself on LinkedIn or wherever. Happy to connect.